know, when I was a kid, I loved to get Easter baskets, and I also loved to paint. So I was looking for a watercoloring workbook that could be good for kids to paint, and I found this one on Amazon. Watch to the end to see if I recommend it. So I'm going to unpack it. I got it in the mail today, finally, from Amazon. It's a little smaller than I thought it would be, but anyway, it comes with the watercolor workbook, which is supposed to have paper, which is good for watercolor. It has paint and a brush. Now, the directions say to use a number 1 and number 4 round brush in the book, but yet they gave me a square brush. So when I first unboxed the watercolors, the pans look very, very chalky. They're kind of big, but they look like chalk. They don't look real. Here's the paintbrush, not a round brush like they told you to use. And then they have swatches. And the funny thing is the swatches that they give you don't match up actually to the colors that they show. That's a couple of red flags right there. I don't think kids would notice, but I did. Anyway, here's the swatches. Disappointing, like I said, but I want to flip through the book and see what might be a cute little Easter picture to paint for an example. They have a lot of different ones, actually 12. Some are big, have big open areas like the lamb. Some have really tiny ones, like there's a couple of others that like a rabbit. I decided to do Jesus since he looks kind of cute and because Jesus is the reason for the season. So they give you ideas of what colors to use. When I first activated the colors, the paints, this is what they look like. I have never seen paint like that before. It's kind of gloppy and mushy and goopy and I don't know. First I wet it like I always do. I was going to try to do a wet on wet technique with this. I'm not sure how well I did. I decided to use only the brush they provided because that might be what you give to your kids. And it's kind of hard to paint it with that brush. The brush started fraying here, and I decided to try to do some shading and some lifting of the paint, but every time I tried to lift the paint, the paper would pill up like that. And it would just pill, and eventually the paper just ripped. So, as you can see, Jesus has a rip, but I just painted over it. I made my own skin color for Jesus. I tried doing a wet on wet a little bit with his hair. Kind of worked, but not really. The water doesn't really, it kind of like sits on top. If you can see the left sleeve, the paint is really opaque and not watercolor-like at all. This paint didn't act like any watercolor paint I've ever used before. I don't know if this is how cheap paints are. But anyway, here's Jesus. He's all done. He's coming to visit you on Easter. And actually, it was kind of fun. Sean says, like, subscribe, and comments. More biscuits for him. Anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this watercolor workbook. I don't recommend it for you to buy it for kids. I think they might be a little disappointed. Okay, thanks. Bye.